Okay, so now it's official. Hello, everybody. All right, so we are doing a kind of preparation for the examination. I don't know the date yet precisely.
Oh, it's exactly 4 weeks from today.
Ah, okay.
20 something, isn't it?
So when
Yeah.
exactly?
28th, 29th?
27th.
Nice.
I have it written.
27th. Okay. Well, then you know more than I do. Okay, so it's the 27th then of April. And so you have to prepare for it over Easter time, I guess. And yeah, okay, so let's go maybe back to the structure of the lecture. That will be a good starting point. Right, okay, so this more or less was the lecture as it was planned. So we started with, we started with mathematical modeling. That's a very important module for me because, mathematical modeling is at the heart of this course. However, it's not really connected to the written examination. So you don't need to prepare for that. Right, okay, now the next thing is structural modeling. So we discussed relational structures. So we went quite quickly beyond graph theory, which is based on binary relations. So you really, in this course, you should have an overview to the whole family of relational structures. So we go, for example, from graphs to special graphs like bipartite graphs, and then we go to hypergraphs. And very important for this lecture, of course, is the introduction of a kind of hierarchical relational concept. So that have been the relational hierarchical hypergraphs. So you need really to understand that concept in detail. And what you can see here also on this overview to the lecture is that I already introduced the links to the videos. Remember that for each video, you have also the slides. So this is the underlying script if you haven't written anything down for yourself. So you have to look at the corresponding slides, and they are both available on Moodle and on the Teams page of MA4J5. So do you, for example, know how to retrieve them?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, that's good. So relational structures are important. You have to look into that. It's an important part of the lecture. And remember also for the examination that these relational structures can also form the basis of more sophisticated dynamical models, right? So you might encounter questions that do a kind of combination between relational structures and, for example, let's say dynamical systems, stochastic processes, things like that. Okay, then we discussed stochastic processes. Yeah, so it's very important that you know, just somebody coming. Hello, Alex, do you hear us?
Oh, yes, hello.
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 Okay, I'm just going through the lecture. So yeah, then we come to the real core of the lecture. So you really have to know everything about these rule-based systems. Maybe you have realized that these rule-based systems can be transformed into nearly anything you have encountered in the also in other applied mathematics lectures. So please have a look at all these rule-based systems. I can give you the hint that this year, of course, because of the pandemic, I will discuss a lot of rule-based systems that are related to infectious diseases, because yeah, that makes sense. So you have to think a little bit, how can you structure, maybe you remember that would be one thing that would be still relevant from the introduction of the lecture. You know what a classification is. And so you can, for example, think about what is a good classification of a rule-based system that describes an epidemic. And yeah, that will help you enormously in understanding the questions. Okay, so rule-based systems are really, very, very important. You also should know, because now we go to dynamical systems, you also really have to know by heart how to, if you have a rule-based system, you have to know how to transform it into an ordinary differential equation by the mass action kinetics applications. So have a look into that as well. We didn't cover this year a spatial process partial differential equation, so that doesn't appear. But now another very important thing you have to understand is data analysis, and here especially statistics. So please, go through the slides and through the lecture 13, because you will need to understand statistics concepts as I introduced them in the lecture. Okay, so that actually is everything you need to know. You don't need to learn anything about machine learning this year. I skipped that, so that gives you more time to to look at the other things. All right, so let me now go to the Moodle page. Do you see the Moodle page? Okay, so I have uploaded here an old examination from 2019. And I think it is still a good idea if you want to have some exercises, especially related to rule-based systems, but also how to convert rule-based systems into dynamical systems. You can use this examination. So here you have to go to the course material. Maybe you remember, it starts here are the slides of the lecture, and then the very last entry into the course material will be this examination. So that gives you a little bit of something where you also have the solutions with it, so you can actually work through their examples. The examples here in this examination are mainly from economics. So obviously we will not have so much about economics, but the principles are the same. Yeah, so I think you can understand that. Maybe you remember that I discussed rule-based systems in the following way. So you can have two different kinds of rule-based systems. One I call the rules of amounts. So this is a rule-based system that is not based on particles, but on mass, so which you can arbitrarily divide. This is something you need, for example, in economics. And in this economics example, you will see that this has been used. However, in this year's examination, I will not use any rule-based system that is based on rules of amount. Do you understand the difference, actually? Yeah, okay. Good. So this is still a good examination, which you can use. Maybe if I go there, oh, no. Ah, yeah. Do you see this now? Do you see the examination? Ah, okay. Yeah. So,
Hi,
Sorry to miss your call.
sorry,
Hiya.
did I hear something? Okay, well,
Okay.
maybe it's not relevant for me.
I don't.
Okay.
No, probably not.
Sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't muted. Apologies.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah, so rules in the department have changed. So this is an examination that is based on 4 questions out of 5. However, this year it will be 3 questions and you have to answer them all. And for one you get 30, for one you get 40, and for the other you get 30%. So I had to adapt to that because the department asked for that format. It's just that that you are not panicking when you see it. So you have to really to answer all the questions that will be provided to you. Yeah, okay. Otherwise, this is, yeah, you also have some exercises here with relational structures. So also please go through that. Yeah, and do the stochastic modeling. So here's the economic example. Okay. So I think, so again to say it again. So go through all the videos that are relevant. You don't need to go through all of them because I gave you hints, what will be examined. But go through all of them, that I have told you. And also, of course, go through the slides. Do this examination I have uploaded into Moodle. And yeah, then I think you will be fine. I must say these questions this year are quite some modeling questions. So it's hard to prepare 100% for that. So you will really have to look, you have to, one skill that will really help you this year is to interpret rules precisely. Maybe you have realized, so personally, since some years already, I have departed a long way from purely chemical rules that are the starting point of these things. So I have, for example, also multi-rules, where you structure something by subtypes. For example, H structure would be such an example. So the rules can be quite complicated depending on what kind of indices there are different variables and types have in the rules. So try to go to different rules, also the ones you find in the lecture, and try to interpret them for you. This will be a very good skill, which will help you. So you will encounter some new rules in the examination, and you really have to be able to read these rules. So yeah, so that will give you quite some headway. Okay, I think actually that's all I wanted to say. So are there any questions?
Who wants to go first?
You go ahead, sure.
Brilliant. Cheers. So thank you for that. That was really, really, really helpful. I was just wondering, just firstly, say we're looking around in the literature, you know, books, papers, that kind of thing, for some other examples of rule-based systems just to play with and just to maybe translate them into a dynamical system just to get that practice. Where would you recommend looking for some more examples of this kind of stuff? Or is it quite unique to this module?
It is quite unique to the module. I mean, more or less any standard book from, for example, mathematical biology will surely have something like that. For example, even the classical books by, mathematical biology 1 and 2 by Jim Murray. These classical two-volume book, Introduction to Mathematical Biology, will have quite some examples. You will, for example, find these classical chemical examples with, with this oscillations of calcium in the cell, for example, that will be found there. So that would be helpful if you look into that.
Brilliant. Cheers. Anybody else want to jump in?
So most of the questions I had have quite nicely been answered by your talk just there. But the only one thing I just want to ask is just when revising, just to get an idea of it, how similar is the style of the past papers to the exam this year, given that this year?
Quite similar.
That's
However,
great.
as I said before, they will be longer, so these there are only 3 questions, so you can expect that the structure of the questions will be a little bit different. But otherwise the style is the same.
That's great, thank you. And then you're saying just the style of the question itself, it'll be mostly looking at interpreting rule-based systems. Is that the idea? Yeah.
So that is the basic skill. There will be quite some rule-based systems in the examination, and you will see. You will have to. This time you really have to. Really look at the rules, because there are quite some relatively sophisticated rules which you have to interpret. If you cannot interpret them, then it's not so easy to answer the questions. They are not too complicated. I think they have just the right kind of complexity.
That's great, thank you.
Yeah, any other question? So as I said, I have recorded this, and I will also upload it to the page, to the web page of the lecture. So let me put in.
Sorry, can I just quickly bump in with a question?
Yeah.
You know the content about like the statistical analysis and data and stuff.
Yeah.
It might just be me, but I've not seen that come up in any previous papers.
Yeah,
I was just I was just wondering
Yes,
what would a kind of typical like line of question go
So
go for
that's an
that
excellent
content?
question. Yeah, I was actually forgetting about that, so I'm happy that you asked that. So yes, so be careful about the statistics, because there's no question, and I also could not recommend you a book now. So there's no historic question. That's what I should say. So of course the question therefore is a little bit tricky, because you really have only the slides to prepare. But on the other hand, they should be sufficient. So yeah,
Great stuff.
Mm.
Thanks. Yeah, Tiernan just pointed out that Connor's question at the start of basically what would be the main resources to look at for revision, I think has definitely been answered too. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, so is there any other question?
I don't know about everyone else, but I'm quite happy.
Me too.
Okay, so let me put into the chat again the web page of the lecture, where you can find all the links to the videos, which you can look at again. And I also posted, because I will also link this video from today to this web page as well. So if anybody asks you later, please give them a hint that it's there. Of course, I will also post it both in Moodle and in Teams, so that everybody has the chance to get exactly the same information as you all had today. Okay, so if there's no further question, I stop now the recording.